Good morning.
It was 0 in Colorado Springs the morning.
0?
-30 wind chill.
That's fun.
Linda's
Anchorage hasn't had any temperatures like that. It's been one of the warmer winters.
and Linda's not
40 in Homer?
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Nice
That's
day today.
bizarre. Of
Wow.
course, in Homer, the wind chill could drop it down to 0. Yeah. Jim, you were going to say something?
Oh, Linda isn't going to make it today.
Oh, no?
She's having something else done to her car.
Linda
To her
who?
car? What's that mean?
Linda
Why
who?
not? Gerber.
Yes, she is.
She told me she wasn't
She's on her
coming.
way.
She's over there. No, that's Linda
Oh.
Gerber.
Right. This is Betty. This is Irving's wife. And,
all right.
and she's come ahead of time, and Irving and Linda are traveling together because
With
they're
Bill.
going to loan her a car.
Oh. So I
So
talked
she
to her
is-
online, and she goes, "No, I'm not coming. 'Cause I'm having more work done on the car." Oh, okay.
That's not true anymore.
Okay.
Okay, guys. Well, let me just say this is the San Carlos Computer Club. We've just started. I just hit the
Hi.
button. Chester and Cheryl are with us online, and I'm here with Judy and Jim, and we're waiting for Irving and Linda to join us. Well, we're not actually waiting because we're going to go ahead and start because
Good
it's
deal.
time to start.
I'll drink to that.
Huh.
So to start out, we'll start out the way we typically do. I got a document here of things that I think are interesting and I thought you might find interesting. I call it the document of possible topics. And if you're curious ahead of time what we might be talking about today, about the earliest you could get it is the night before when I'm scrambling to put it together. I will send it out to you, and if you're not getting it, you might not be on my mailing list. If that's the case, just reach out to me or have somebody forward it to you and reply to it, and I will put you on the mailing list. If anyone wants off the mailing list, same deal. Just reply to it and tell me you don't want to get this thing anymore. I've left at the top, I'll reiterate once more to this week, that we've got 3 things that are constantly growing. A part of our club, it's the Bill of Digital Rights, which I cannot get any feedback from, not us or anyone out there on the internet. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about individual protections from the digital age.
That's because everybody does their own.
Well, no, the idea is to enshrine some individual protections into our legislation, like the Bill of Rights does, so that there are certain things that just can't happen, like tracking you by default. And so I encourage everyone to look at my ideas for the Bill of Digital Rights and add suggestions, comment on it, and if you like it, start pushing it out there to your local representatives. This is what we need, is something that protects us as individuals. In the United States, we have a lot of protections to do business, but we don't have a lot of protections for our individual selves in this digital age. And that's the idea of this. In the same way the Bill of Rights was individual protections, enshrining certain rights to always be. Hey, Linda. Linda's joined us.
Just after
Welcome.
I said you weren't coming.
No, Irving had to pick us up.
I know. I heard that.
So if you have interest in this, please comment. Let me know what you think. I will make changes to it. I've thought about this a lot throughout the years and finally put it down on paper.
Last 2 weeks.
Again, I'm taking reservations for the bed and breakfast, so if you want to come to Alaska, now's the time to get your discount. I am going to raise prices soon to our 2025 prices, but they are staying at last year's prices right now. So this is the time to do it. And the third thing that we have covered a number of times is the Smartphones for Dummies 2, which is a seminar I would like to give, updating from a seminar I did 5 years ago. So
And I've been talking that up because there's a lot of people that really need help.
This is great. When you talk to people, bring the things they need help with back to us, so I can add them to the list of things that we're doing. So people are like, I want to be able to, please bring that to me, or send it to me in email, and I'll
Okay.
add it to the list.
Drop in the pin.
Drop in the pin. Let me add that right now.
Yes. I have shown umpteen people because someone else just taught me how to do it and I didn't
don't
even
know
know
how
how
to
to do it.
Can I get you something?
No.
Pin location.
No, I don't
Oh,
want
sure.
That's awesome. That represents a really good update to what we were learning 5 years ago. We weren't even thinking about that. We weren't thinking about password managers 5 years ago.
But everybody's phone drops the pin different.
Right. Yeah. Well, and
The apples,
each app does it differently.
right.
Yeah.
The apples, we tried it on an old Apple, and my new Samsung drops it different. WhatsApp drops it different.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. No. This would be a great thing to have in a discussion for a second seminar, and it'd be a good thing for us to just talk about. I mean, as a topic, because you're right.
Exactly.
In fact, when you go to when somebody says drop me a pin, it's almost like you've already decided what messenger you're using, or you have to have that conversation right at that
Right.
moment.
right.
And-
I'm saying I don't know how to do that on WhatsApp. So
Well,
Okay.
and how do you do it? How do you do it on Facebook Messenger? How do you do it without sharing a live location? Like
Exactly.
you want to drop a location, but it's not where you are at the moment.
Right, and they have it on here for an hour. They have it on here for a half an hour. They have it on here for a permanent drop.
Mm-hmm.
Now, but around here, okay, I just tried to drop him. Sometimes where I
him
am.
who?
Oh, Irving.
Irving.
That's hard to do
Irving's
while
the
you're
him.
driving.
Good morning.
I thought you were talking
Good
about
morning,
Bill
Irving.
and you were
Welcome.
getting rid of it.
Thank you.
Huh?
I thought you were going to drop Bill permanently.
Yeah,
That was your last thing, permanent drop.
yeah. So,
Smart ass.
all right, I'm up at third between D and E. I'm on third between D and E. Okay, but sometimes you drop the pin and it shows them off right off of Beltrones. So it's real difficult.
Oh yeah, yeah. So your GPS location has to be double checked
Right,
because you're either getting GPS triangulation from the cell towers,
right,
or they're following it down to your location on your internet connection, like your
Right.
Wi-Fi. And you have to be constantly aware of where that pin drop might look when you're dropping it.
right.
So that brings in like a whole other issue of dropping a
Right.
pin is double checking your location because
Well,
you can't
it
trust
also helps if you save the address, and then you have to almost save the address and then drop the pin. Make sure you have your address saved.
Well,
It's ridiculous. Because they are tracking then where you are.
Right.
And I don't need that.
how about the frustration? I've got this frustration with my office address. If I send you my office address,
Right.
it will offset the location.
Right.
I like somebody asked me for the office, like a pin
Uh-huh.
for my office, and I have to go into Google Maps. And what I've done on Google Maps for our business is I've specified the geo coordinates, the longitude and latitude of my office. Because if I use the lot number and the street address, it offsets it into the country club.
Right.
And so I almost have to share lot and latitude coordinates for people to find the office.
I do at my house.
Yeah. And so, I mean, people that are living and have their mobile experience in large cities like Phoenix or Seattle or New York, they don't even know what you're talking about.
Right.
Just drop a pin. But people that live in rural areas like we do around here, like they might know how to look up lot and land. Like you can actually, I mean, just for your information, you can take the lot and land, which is a ridiculous degrees number, and stick it into a Google map, and it will show you on a Google map. But that's 3 steps away from just dropping a pin and reading where you're going.
Right. Okay, are you watching Landman?
What's Landman? Oh, I am. Yes. Oh my
Okay,
gosh.
Are you hearing him?
Am I?
Who's Landman?
Drop me the pin.
Drop me the pin. Yeah,
I
And
heard
that's
the
right.
first time I heard it. And
What's
then
Landman first? Back up.
Oh well, it
Oh my
definitely
God.
should be on our recommendations
Paramount
of
Plus.
shows. I'm gonna write it onto our recommendations
it's
list
from
for
the
today.
Taylor Sheridan, the guy who's doing Yellowstone.
I gotta
But
say,
it's better.
it is so good. And I am not a cowboy fan. I'm not an oil fan. I'm not a what's his name? Billy Bob Thornton
Yeah.
fan. I mean, like
Oh,
like
yeah.
if it's a Billy Bob Thornton movie, maybe I'll go see it. But I don't go see it because of him.
I
Right?
heard
The only
it's good.
thing
He's a great actor, but he's not the reason I go. And this is an amazing show. It's so
Right.
Is it
good.
on IPTV?
Huh?
Is it on IPTV?
No, it's on Paramount
I
Plus.
don't have Paramount.
Oh,
I'm
That's-
watching it. I think on Fire Stick.
Really?
I think it's
shows
available.
up on
Isn't
the
it
Fire
Prime?
TV.
Oh, it's Prime.
Is it?
I've
I
got
think
Prime.
it's Prime, isn't it?
no,
No, it's
Paramount
not.
Plus.
Oh, it's Paramount Pro Plus.
Well, you can watch it on Prime if you have the Paramount Plus
Yeah, if
on
you
the
pay for
Prime.
it. Well, I can watch it anywhere if I pay for it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Get Cody.
Yeah.
You watch it for free.
What's interesting though about it is there's a
Cody's
lot
free
of
too.
profanity,
I love it.
including the C word,
That's
which
fine.
I don't really like. But
Well, I
the
didn't
profanity
pick
doesn't
up on
bother
that,
me.
but we just finished the
Huh?
last episode last.
Yeah.
And you didn't
you
even
just-
notice it.
I didn't even notice that
the
aspect of it.
season's over.
But it definitely.
That's how filthy
Yeah.
everything is. You don't even notice
Don't
nudity.
even-
You don't
goes
notice
right
it.
by you.
Yeah.
no,
Oh, I saw the nudity. I mean, it was definitely R
I
rated.
saw the nudity.
Yeah. I mean, profanity doesn't bother me, but I don't want to miss the nudity.
Yeah, you're showing your age.
characters in this are
Well, if it's over, then will I be able to get it somewhere? If the
Well,
season is
so the
over.
way the streaming world is working now,
Yeah.
Paramount would have to make a deal with Netflix to
or
host
somebody.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Prime or something.
Yeah, and they will. They will
it'll
because
happen.
they've figured out that that's the way to make money off
well,
their
like
content.
Yellowstone's only up to season 3 on
I know.
Netflix, and they've got 5. So
As usual, I'm having trouble getting it.
Yo, you need the code again, don't you?
Well, it should remember it on its device.
Oh, I got
Oh,
your
this
email.
this code.
Well, it's because see, this is one of the reasons that the iPads have not taken over as the laptop because that app will not open with the code off the link in the email.
What?
He has not been able to.
Tequila's code.
It
No.
will too.
That it will
Well,
because it seems
let me
like
try
we.
it.
Yeah,
I do it all the time at home.
we tried it on Irving's a number of times for the last 2 weeks, and we've had to type in the code manually in the
No.
Google
Every
Meet
time?
app
Every time.
every time.
Whoa.
Why don't you just put the address in the link that you send?
That's what
It
I'm
does.
saying is I do, and when Irving clicks on it, it
Oh,
doesn't.
It still doesn't do it.
It tries to go to a web browser and open it up when it's supposed to go into Google Meet and
Okay,
open it up.
let's see what's going to happen. Here
Is
it
this-
is, right?
Is this in?
Okay, you're in
Finito?
the document.
I'm
and
in the document.
Irving is not
Okay.
in the document.
Well,
He's in the email.
I'm in the meet code.
So if that's the case,
Well,
if
let
that
me try it
works,
the other way then.
Yeah. He
In the
couldn't-
email,
He couldn't
Yeah.
get to the meat code.
okay, the email came before.
well, even when we got to the Meet code, we couldn't use the link.
What time was the email?
8 o'clock this morning.
Well, that's what I was using.
Oh, here it
no, I
is.
was using yesterday. Sorry.
And then the other thing is that if you
Mine is from yesterday.
Okay,
well, if you go into the, does it work from the document?
let me. Well, no, I'm in the
The email. Okay, try from the email. Okay, so it works from the email.
Okay,
Perfect.
look what this is saying on. This is a new Samsung. It says notification permissions needed. Turn on meet ongoing calls and incoming calls. So maybe
I got that when I.
The original problem Irving had was that it was not bringing up Google Meet when he clicked on the link, and we had to type in the Meet code manually to get him connected.
Well, if he uses today's email,
on.
Linda, you should turn off your microphone and speakers.
so Irving, if you open it from this morning's email, it should open.
Well, does it say the 13th meeting of the 2020?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the one. Let's.
Well, when I hit it, it goes to a.
Someone's
So
got
you're
their
in the
microphone on.
document.
Do you?
I'm not logged on.
Yeah, you just
So-
said it. I can hear you.
This
Oh,
is.
well, I didn't enter
It doesn't
Huh?
work. And then where's your
This
email?
mic.
Ah,
Am I
are
hearing
you
it through this
bringing?
mic on my phone?
Are you using
hear
mail
it on my
from
phone.
the mail app
You're
or
logged in up
from
there, aren't you?
Gmail?
Mail
Yeah, I
app.
did.
Mail app.
Well, that's
So
why you hear it on your
do you
phone.
Yeah,
have
I
your
haven't
mail
joined.
app set up, or you're using the
it's
Gmail?
actually it says I have
Maybe
joined.
I got the volume turned up.
But this is file.
Now I'm on.
Somebody turn off their.
It's me. It's me. It's trying.
Right here, let's. There it is. But you don't have it set up. You'll have to set it up for us to use that.
I'm
Yeah,
out
it
of
should.
It's not me any longer. I closed it down.
All right. Well, I'll come back and check on you if you're still having problems getting
That's
in.
interesting because it did say what Linda said when I tried it from the first document.
Well, Irving just had the
Here, I'm
experience
talking in
from the
phone.
document. If you clicked on the link, it goes into a web page
And I've got the volume.
that's trying to
turned
bring up a link that's not available.
Okay, now I'm going to yesterday's and I open the document. I'm going to click the meet.
Is that an apple?
Well, I am going way back to the beginning of our conversation. Dropping a pin is going to be added to this presentation because that's something we should all be able to do, and we should understand.
From either one.
It'd be really interesting to put your iPad and Irving's iPad together and see what things you can do and he can't,
Doesn't sound.
and try and narrow down why his isn't quite working right. But
Oh, you went to
But he
set-
also doesn't have Mac Mail set up yet. And so he's doing that right now to see if clicking on it from Mac Mail will open up the app. There's a good chance it will.
take the volume.
And while we're here, let's see, we got through the
Both hear it.
3, dropping the pin.
Works. I usually
I
shut
have
all
a
down.
question about when you're doing the smartphone for dummies too.
Okay,
Are you going to like put that on
YouTube?
WhatsApp San Carlos or something so that people know it's happening, or it's not going to be available for everybody?
It'll be announced for everybody.
Good.
Yeah. But at the
Noise
moment, in fact,
cancellation.
whoever you're talking to, I need a venue, and my thought was to do it again at Club Deportivo. But I have not worked out dates or availability.
Okay.
So I actually would be great if somebody could come to me saying, hey, you know, Scott, this would be a great time because of this. And I'd be like, okay, let's plan around that. Of course, I got to finish the
Right.
got to finish the presentation first. Okay. Who's got topics? Who showed up wanting to solve a problem?
I've got one.
Judy's got one. All right.
So I have WhatsApp on my laptop. And I get a message, it's grayed out, and it says you have to download the newest WhatsApp. But when I click on it to do that, it doesn't.
Now,
I
this
just
is
saw
on
that.
your iPad,
This is on my
Macintosh,
MacBook.
your MacBook. Okay. And you're trying to download the latest.
It's already there, and it's grayed out, and it says you must download the current WhatsApp.
But so do you get it from the App Store?
Not on my iPad.
You
Or
don't?
On my MacBook.
You don't? I'm curious.
not?
I wish I
No,
had a Mac
because-
in front of me right now.
Because it's like a web browser.
Why not
page.
go to WhatsApp site itself and download it there?
I've had it for years now on my MacBook, but all of a sudden it's grayed out and says you have to update.
Yeah, well, that
Well-
makes sense, especially if you did go to the website and download it
Mhm.
yourself, because nothing's going to auto update that application.
Okay.
But if you did it through the App Store, you'd get a notification from the App Store saying there's a
think.
new version.
I'll have to look. Well, I don't know. There
Yeah, but,
wasn't an App Store version for my MacBook Pro at that time.
And I haven't looked into it. I use Opera for my WhatsApp desktop experience, just in the
Yeah, and I
sidebar.
use Safari or I use somebody, but it was really weird because I haven't looked at it on,
Well, they have a desktop version.
and that's what I've been using on
Yeah.
it,
That's
because
what I
that
got.
was the only option
And
available.
what I've been using is the Opera browser has these sidebar applications, and Outlook is, or not Outlook, WhatsApp is one of those
Right.
apps, and so that's the only way I've been using
But
it.
that's the same way it is with Safari or Firefox. They have the sidebar and you click on it.
But you said you're
supposedly-
using the desktop app.
Well, I guess that's what it is.
Well, no, that would be a web browser and its version of the client.
Okay.
And so if you were doing it like Opera, there would actually, what happens in the Opera WhatsApp is it tells you at the top of the WhatsApp saying there's a newer version, hit refresh.
And that's
And it'll download.
normally how it's done it before, but this time.
But the desktop version would be a client meant for your operating system. So it's not hard to imagine that they would make a tweak that needs to download a whole new version of it for your opera, especially with all the updates that's been happening with
Exactly.
Mac recently.
Yeah.
I
I just, before I did it, I wanted to make sure that was something that was relatively legit.
Linda, your profile is a beautiful picture of the ceiling.
Profile.
Yeah, it's up on the screen right
Oh,
Nice.
because
I like it.
now.
look,
Perfect.
how's that?
That's awesome. I wasn't criticizing
Smile. You're on candid camera.
that.
There you go.
Except the camera's over here.
So I just learned something. So we were on here
Mm-hmm.
and we wanted to take the sound off, but we could still hear everything.
Right.
Oh, there's now up at the top is this little thing where you turn off the sound on the whole thing.
Oh, you can mute it right from there?
Right, up here in the top. But he was just helping me. We were trying all these different things. Oh, there's all this new stuff on the new versions of Android.
I'm as you're talking, I want to bring up Meet and see if we've got that on the iPhone as well.
So it was up at the top and it shows, our code,
Mhm.
RGB, blah, blah, blah. And right over to the right is the sound thing. But I was doing the microphone at the bottom, but I was still hearing the sound coming out.
What version Android is it?
Try
Brand new.
to
That
speak.
doesn't
Turn
matter.
on
What
your
version Android?
I'd have to go look.
13,
testing
14?
1 2.
Whatever the new one is.
You know what? There is the speaker
Yeah.
icon on the iPhone is moving between speakerphone and receiver.
Okay, well down here,
So it's not
It's got the-
muting, but it's changing the speaker output
so
from
up at the top it's muting it.
on the Android. Now that
Yeah.
that isn't on the iPhone. So
Right,
that
yeah.
must be an Android
What's
specific
the thing
feature.
that's two little arrows with a dot in the center?
Let me see if that's on the iPhone.
Okay, you're talking now and that's coming up. Do I do?
Okay. I don't know about the dot, but they're two curled arrows.
Yeah, and there's a dot in the center.
That normally means you can flip the camera.
Oh, to do, okay,
Yeah, from front facing to back, rear
Right.
camera.
okay. Horizontal, vertical.
Well, no,
Oh,
yeah, you see
I
I'm
could take a picture of you and have the, okay.
yeah, I'm looking at you or you're looking at you, now you're looking at me.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Just leave the call.
Okay, now I'm going to try logging back on.
Okay.
You're constantly learning something because they keep changing and they change the position where it's at too, where it's located.
That stuff's got to stop. I mean, there's too much of this just rearranging chairs. It keeps us. It creates stress and animosity in a world that isn't necessary anymore.
you
They don't need to be moving shit around all the time. Not when it still does the exact same thing it did before.
Right.
Finally learned it was there. Now it's somewhere else. Now it's a different color. It's version .1 and the .2.
Rearranging the grocery
Well, we were
store, you buy
looking-
more.
Same
Right.
thing with dropping the pin. It's different in each location that you're. Okay, on WhatsApp, you have to click on the paperclip.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
on this one, on this new version, you pick, and then up comes about 8 things, and then that's where the location is.
Now
But I
mine's
did
beige.
someone else's WhatsApp, and it was up on the top.
sure. Sure. Well, especially if you're running across a number of different Android versions.
Okay, I got my speaker off. I've got this.
You gotta turn your speaker all the way down.
It is.
Well, you shouldn't be able to hear it.
It's the same thing up at the top. You have to take the microphone out. Mean the sound off on it.
Okay, which way did you push it?
Up for some reason.
Yeah.
That's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so you pushed it up.
Yeah. But we're good.
Meat keeps you safe.
Okay.
So last week I was talking about VPNs.
Yes.
I learned that they don't all work actually the same. Some of them don't work with your phone lines or your internet. Different.
Wow. That's
I
weird.
got private internet access down here, which is screaming. I get over 250 megs up and down
Mm-hmm.
with
Humble
it,
brag.
with it on WireGuard. In Tucson, it cuts me down to barely 100 on up and 50 on down. Where I go over to, I also have
Nord.
the cheap one that I said, the fastest VPN.
The fastest VPN.
It's the name of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Down here, dead slow.
Okay.
In Tucson, it's faster than the PIA, private
Okay.
internet access, and I'm using the same servers on PIA here as I do in Tucson, which is Phoenix, and for here it screams. Tucson, which are even closer.
Jim, when you say servers, do you mean literally the same servers or the same locations?
Same location.
Same
It should be the same servers, though.
No, not necessarily. Those are two different companies that are maintaining two
No.
different endpoints.
No, the same company. PIA.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought you were
No, PIA.
contrasting two different services. So yeah, using the same endpoints with the same software from two different locations,
versus Telmex versus whatever it is.
Comcast or whatever that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not Comcast.
It's not.
ESL.
Okay.
But anyway, or fiber. It's fiber there too. So I'm using both fibers.
But you watch a tremendous drop in speed.
If I use it up there, if I go to the cheap VPN that I have, it's screen. I get 250, or actually now I should be getting about 800.
That's interesting.
I use VPN Unlimited, and they are using their server is in Dallas.
It doesn't like you today.
Not today. It's not. No, it's not being very good today.
Reboot it.
And you don't feel like you have a drop in speed when you use VPN
I'm not having
Unlimited?
any problem with it. And you know what? They're Ukrainians because they have the thing. We're adept on the when you turn it on. Actually, that's part of a company called Keep Solid. Probably heard of them.
No, I haven't.
They're really inexpensive. Really inexpensive. And then I just bought 5 more units because we got the trailer now, and I've got 2 TVs in the trailer. And
Don't you have an unlimited access?
no,
Oh,
5 units, but I hardly pay anything, about $49 a year for it.
Yeah.
So it's cheap. But I've been really happy with it, and I've had it 8 years.
fastest VPN, you get it for $23 for life. Unlimited connections, and it works on Apple, Android
Uh-huh.
computers, everything.
Well,
It's called
because if you want to
Fastest.
watch Paramount
sorry?
Plus
It's
down
called
here, you got to be on a
Fastest.
It's the
VPN.
fastest VPN.
Do you know the origin of the fastest VPN?
Canary Islands, and it was certified no logs. They had it checked. They don't keep any logs or anything else, and they're outside of the jurisdiction at Canary Islands of everybody, so they do the hell they want, and nobody can stop them.
Well, that's interesting. So VPN Unlimited is what you're using, Linda, right?
Yep.
And Jim's using PIA and the fastest.
When I type in the fastest VPNs, well, I just get news about it.
Yeah,
I get-
they've picked that name just
Yeah.
just to take total advantage of that.
exactly.
It's also on that software email you get, or I get, for 28% or 58% off.
Well,
I bought it 4 years ago. I think I paid $10 for it for the lifetime.
Doesn't Proton have a VPN? Have you guys looked into that?
Some of them are just too expensive.
Yeah. I get
You know?
I get a little nervous by how cheap some of these services are that you're raving about, because it seems like there's an ulterior motive going on there.
Well, I've never had a problem with them, ever. I mean,
Yeah.
like I've had it years.
Of course,
Yeah, well, I wonder if they're in their business model, you better
it's
not have a problem,
fastest, not the fastest.
right? The way they're making money isn't off of you. Somehow they're making money,
That's
and
it.
they want you to keep
Yeah.
using it
Mhm.
because they're not charging you a lot. They're providing you a great service.
They
So
are.
it
And
makes
they
me
answer you back right away if you have a problem.
wonder where they're
Somebody.
making money. And the reason that I think critically about this stuff is because it's come out that services like Temu make all their money off of selling the data, not off the products they're selling you. In fact, they'll scrape product interest from sites and build their own products that compete with those products at dirt prices, because they're not even worried about making money off the product. They're worried about collecting the marketing information, because there's such a big data brokerage business going on right now. It's all about selling that
Right.
information.
It said 93 on mine.
And
so.
VPNs, I
Right.
think, are ripe for exploitation in that
lifetime.
respect. You've got the security between here and the endpoint. You're able to mimic as though you're in a different location,
Uh-huh.
but it also means that there's a point at which it can be monitored and pick up that traffic. I mean, we instead of having all these different exit places based on your interests,
Uh-huh.
you've got one major exit place there at your node that you've connected from.
Well, Peacock,
It'll make it very easy to regulate people in the future when we go to total fascism.
Peacock knows you're on the VPN, and now they've cut me off.
Okay,
who?
So
Peacock.
you've had a
Oh,
problem.
so you have had a problem with
Sorry.
VPN Unlimited.
Try a different,
Just Peacock.
try
And
a
I-
different server.
Well, yeah, but that's
Yeah, I'm going to try a different server.
Linda. That's the definition of having a problem. You're having a problem with Peacock on that VPN.
Well, they have
We-
a big
we-
notice on their thing that they don't allow VPNs. So,
Which is actually one of the reasons I've always appreciated the DNS proxy since I learned about it.
Yep.
Because, and this is strictly for TV or the other services that they list, because they make a list of everything they guarantee they're trying to get you to. So if you're on that list, then they have an obligation to make sure you can get to. If Peacock's on that list, they've made an obligation with you to make it possible for you to, no matter what changes in the
And
internet,
they answer
Right.
your emails like that, too.
they are really good at getting back to you about that stuff. I mean, I've just had a lot of good experiences with DNS proxy. I've never used their VPN, but they say it's
Yeah,
there.
it's slow.
available. Yeah.
But it's there.
And what I've watched at the same time is I've watched ExpressVPN become much more available to help you get access to these services because they recognize that that's why you bought their VPN. I can't get Netflix, and their customer support's really fast, and they will get back to you and they will work with you to get Netflix. Whereas 10 years ago, they could care less whether you could reach Netflix.
Right.
VPN Express and private internet access are the same owners.
Oh, they are?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Well, the other problem is Starlink. Okay, I bought the Starlink down here,
Yeah?
took it home in Tucson,
Okay.
and it still says you're in Mexico.
Okay.
I emailed them, told them it shows I cannot get off of Mexico. It's from Mexico City.
Is it affecting your bandwidth?
Well, it's not affecting my bandwidth, but everything has to be on the VPN, and then I have trouble
Wait.
with Capital
Oh,
One.
it does have to be it because it is satellite. So
Right.
it's virtually setting your location in Mexico. That's
Correct.
wild.
Well, they don't have any servers, so I'm wondering. So then I met somebody online who is in Texas, and he's got the same issue. But when we went on our trip this summer and we were clear up at Mount Rushmore and everything, we had no problem. As soon as we came back to Tucson,
You were back on the
we're
Mexican.
back on the Mexican.
So you
so-
didn't have problems with and so are you the Starlink contract you have? Is it meant to be mobile?
Yeah, it has to be. In order to get Starlink down here and take it with you, it's mobile.
Yeah,
But
to take it with you, it's
Canada,
mobile.
U.S., and Mexico are all on the same thing.
Right, but again,
See, other countries aren't. If you move from Spain to France, then you've got two different countries going. But they consider North America as one area. But anyway, it shows I'm in Mexico City,
Mhm.
so I have a problem with Capital One
Sure.
because
yeah.
Capital One, they won't even let me on the VPN.
I get on. with
I have to
VPN
go
on.
outside, and the problem is at where we live up there on the hill in Green Valley, no reception outside. You have to be in the house
On the Wi-Fi.
on the Wi-Fi.
I wonder if where the Green Valley property is located, if the Mexican satellite is reachable, and the American satellite isn't, or
Right.
it's got such crappy signal that it's defaulting to the Mexican
Well, I've
satellite.
emailed them. They've
Yeah.
answered me and said they don't have.
Because if you've got the
Something.
mobile contract, you'd expect to be able, like you did, you'd expect to be able to travel to another location, pick up another one of those satellites, and continue to go.
Right.
So it's interesting that it's trying to connect. Are you certain that you have full sky coverage where you are?
Absolutely.
Full sky coverage, then I would think that more than you would be having
Absolutely.
problems in your area.
I haven't
Why
even-
would it even try and do?
Well,
you
I
bought it
haven't
in
had
Mexico.
Anybody that I know that I met that's got it from Mexico. I bought it down here.
Yeah, no, I understand that. And you would think that if you bought it in the States, they would have no reason to run across the Mexican satellite. The only reason that they're running across the Mexican
You say
satellite
you
is because
bought it
that
from
was
here. You mean you bought it from the company?
No,
yeah,
I
bought it from Starlink here
I
here
bought
in
it
Mexico.
From, I
Or Home
bought it
Depot?
From no,
Home Depot,
Mercado Libre.
Mercado
You
Libre.
bought it from a
Okay.
third party.
It shouldn't matter though.
They're
You-
all the same.
You've signed up for service in Mexico.
Yeah. Oh, I
and
was
that
here.
and that's the difference is you
My
have a Mexican
address is in
account
Mexico.
and you'd expect it to work the way like Netflix does. You take your account to the States, you can sign into Netflix and watch what's available in the United States.
Yeah.
You'd expect your Starlink to do the same thing. I'm in the United States. I should be, and I've got the mobile account. I should be able to connect to whatever satellite's available and behave as though I'm in the United States.
Right. But
And yours
Prime
is defaulting
not.
to
Prime
Mexico.
does not do that. And I have Prime
Oh.
Mexico, and it says you're traveling.
well, okay.
So
Yeah.
to watch the football this year, you had to pay.
Prime's a mess because I've got both Prime in Mexico and in the United States, and so often I'll be in the States and it won't let go of my Mexican Prime,
Right.
and I have not sorted it out. I keep monkeying with it until finally I start getting.
On what?
What do you mean?
What device? That it
Yeah,
won't
well,
get-
that's what I'm getting
That's
at.
what I'm asking you.
Yeah,
What
no,
device are you
it
on?
depends on the device.
Yeah.
Like on a Roku, I get a different experience than if I'm on a Fire Stick. If I'm
Okay.
right, it's very strange. If I'm on a
Computer.
laptop, if I'm on a computer, it's not a problem.
All right.
It-
That's what I was going to say.
Right, I don't belong to Prime in the States, but when they give the freebie, like at Christmas, then I sign up for the freebie. Well, then I have a problem because I've got the Mexican Prime, and you're using the same password.
Yeah.
I changed the password. I have a Mexican Prime and an American Prime, and same email, different passwords.
How does that work?
How does that work? Because they wouldn't let me change the password.
When I change
When
the
I sign
password
up
on the
for it.
Mexican side, it changes it on the U.S.
Right.
side.
No, mine's
Yeah.
different
That's weird. That's like
Really?
two
On a
different
computer.
accounts. Well, regardless.
on the computer.
Yeah,
No,
regardless.
mine wouldn't change. It uses the same password.
When you say you have Prime, you pay a premium for Prime, or is it part of Amazon?
Man, it's feeling like a
You
premium.
guys
It's
do
a
me?
premium.
You pay for Prime.
You pay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
why
You
I
pay
never
'em-
get anything out of Prime.
Well, you pay
If you're not a
either
member.
monthly or annually, and anybody
I
that's
pay
paying for
Amazon,
Prime would
but
say
it's supposed to
pay
be Prime
annually.
Yeah.
included,
Yes.
but I guess it's not.
What's that?
No,
Isn't Amazon with Prime supposed to be included?
no.
No. If you're paying for Amazon,
Yes.
if you're paying for it,
Right.
either monthly or annually,
Under
you're
$7
paying for
a
Prime.
year.
You're paying
but
for
if you
Prime.
buy it in Mexico, it's $45 a year.
Yeah, it's like 999 pesos.
119
Yeah.
in the States or something.
It's gotten very expensive in the
I
States.
don't have
in
U.S.
comparison.
Prime. I won't buy it. It's too much money.
Well, I ship so much garbage that I save a lot of money.
You
I
know,
love my Prime.
yeah, the U.S. Prime. I mean, being in
It comes
Alaska,
in 2 days.
the
even
U.S.
without
Prime is pretty awesome.
Yeah, and especially in Alaska.
Yeah.
They deliver it right to my trailer.
That's right. I mean, still
Well,
pretty
and-
frustrated about batteries, and there's a lot of stuff that you can get in San
But I
Carlos you
find
can't get in
Prime will tell
Alaska, but you
anything
don't have to
that's
pay
good.
$30 to get something up to Alaska when you've got Prime.
I
Yeah.
ordered something to Linda's and it was there the same day.
Yeah.
It came the same day.
Same day.
This is in Arizona, though, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I've ordered stuff from Walmart
Same day.
and came the same afternoon.
I've gotten to the point where I can go visit my parents in Mesa, and I'll still be shopping, and I'm like leaving in 48 hours, and things will be showing up at
Yeah.
the door for me to take with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
great.
wonderful.
Yeah. Usually on the way up, I pick up at Walmart the things I'll order.
Okay.
Oh, Walmart, free pickup. Pick it up anytime after 10. You got it. So I'm ordering them as I'm driving up. Tell
Yeah.
my wife to punch the button.
I ordered stuff yesterday morning, and then the kid that works for me and was bringing something down here for somebody. So I ordered it. He went over to Walmart. It was ready for pickup at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
He picked it up, and I had it yesterday afternoon.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right. I brought a few
You can't get
topics,
on-
unless there's something very specific that somebody's brought they want
Is
to.
that what you were
I mean, we're just riffing off of
Capital
Down
One.
the
here,
last couple
I
of things
can
we were
get on
talking about.
Capital One.
I wanted to point out that we are
But at home,
left with less than 10 months of Windows 10 support. You guys are aware of that, right? Your Windows 10 computers, Linda? Your Windows 10 computer is going to lose support in October. You're aware of that, right?
Yeah, October 14th.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I don't have
what
10.
are we on? Are we on Windows 11?
11.
If you're running Windows 11, it's not a problem. If you're running Windows 10, they're going to drop security support and update support for it.
Who cares?
What is interesting, and it's one of the articles that I put in our document, is that it still has the majority of Windows install base, and it's gone up in the last year. There are more Windows 10 computers than there are Windows 11. That has been the case all along, but there's even more Windows 10 computers now than there was last year at this time.
How do we check if what we got?
Well, you would need to be on your Windows computer to do it, but you can tell by the interface, or you could do a right click on the start button and choose system, and it will show you what version of Windows you're using. But I just find
But
that
isn't the iPad Windows also?
No.
No.
no, that's iOS from Apple. and we're talking about Windows from Microsoft.
So as long as you're getting your updates from Windows, you have a problem.
Well, if you were running Windows 10, then you would have
Got
had
a
to
problem.
intentionally update it to Windows 11,
I'm
which
pretty-
would have come through their updates
pretty sure. I
If your
got that.
computer will update.
if your
Exactly.
computer will update. And that's been the controversial issue with the Windows 10 to Windows 11 update, is they set some artificial constraints on which computers could update. I've got a number of computers in my world that will not update to Windows 11 because they're 6th generation Pentiums or 6th generation Intel Core computers. Just for reference, we're up to 14th generation, so that is a fairly old processor set. But one of the things that happens with Intel processors is they continue to be used and built into computers. So the 6th generation is less than your computer that is a 6th generation or 7th generation could be only 5 years old, not 10 years old, because some manufacturer chose to use older CPUs in the computer you're using to make it a cheaper computer. Another thing that manufacturers, all the way back to when the 6th generation was new, they could have been including a security module of version 2, the TPM you see it called, but they were still including TPM 1.1 and 1.2, and Microsoft has decided if your computer doesn't support 2.0, then it doesn't count. So you could have an 8th generation, even a 9th generation computer, but to save money, they decided to use the security chip from previous generations, and those computers won't upgrade to Windows 11.
So then you have to replace the computer.
That's what Microsoft has caused. They have caused, and we're about to, and Richard said this a couple weeks ago, and he's absolutely right. There is a flood of very capable computers that are going into the secondary market right now because they won't upgrade to Windows 11. And they are ripe for Linux distributions.
Oh,
if you're
yeah.
looking for cheap computers that can
And super fast.
and super fast, that's right, because it is not a real constraint for this operating system. This operating system could have run on these older computers. And Microsoft's got themselves in a bind because they have decided that they will go forward with new Windows versions instead of their original plan, which was this is the last version of Windows.
Was 10, supposedly.
It was supposed to be 10, but 11 is there, and you can bet 12 is actually their AI. And they're in a real problem because they just forced everybody to upgrade their computers, throw out their old computers. Nobody's going to do that for 12. Nobody's going to throw out the
You have to do
computer.
it twice.
Right. Nobody's going to throw out their computer from 3 years ago so they can run Windows 12. They're going to be very frustrated if Windows 11 doesn't have a long life because they just bought these computers. You can go to Walmart right now and buy a $200 computer that absolutely is not going to do any of the AI stuff that they're considering Windows 12 to be. And so you go and buy that computer, that Windows 11 better be a 7-year span that they're going to support that computer. And what's interesting with Windows 10 still dominating, that's this first article, is if you go on to the next article I brought, they're not going to support Office on Windows 10.
On Windows what?
On Windows 10, after they drop support for Windows 10, they're dropping support for Microsoft Office. So even if you wanted to take your chance with security and feature updates not being available in your old Windows 10 computer, which is running just fine and doing all the jobs it was doing for you up to that point,
But Office will supply the fix.
Office will not. That's what they're saying. Office is not going to continue
Are
to
they
be.
putting Office out of business? Is that it?
No, you're just going to have Windows 11.
Oh,
They're going to force you to upgrade.
That's right. If your computer that's working just fine, doing all the jobs it was doing up until October 14th, now it no longer gets security updates, but it also doesn't get Office
I
updates.
don't use them.
Well, you can bet there's a lot of corporations out there that are using
Oh, yeah.
Office.
Oh, the corporation.
And they're all going to
Yeah.
have to buy a new computer.
That or
Yeah, that's what they want you to do.
Well, of course.
They're running out of money.
Of course.
Yeah, you know, Microsoft's so broke. Thank you, sir. That better be the right one.
Oh yes, this is decaf. Don't worry.
You sure? I thought decaf was in your left.
Don't mess with him.
Oh my God.
Don't mess with him.
Well, we'll see. If you start shaking,
You'll know
yeah,
you
I
did the right
I
one.
did the
Yeah.
right one.
So yeah, so they're now this gets even weirder. This is all happening right now. In the next article I brought, Microsoft is just now changing the name of Office.
Oh.
And to a horrible name. They're going to call it Copilot.
Hasn't it been
Copilot.
Well, that's what they have at the bottom of your.
Copilot is the AI.
Right. So, it's going from Microsoft 365 Office to Microsoft 365 Copilot.
Because they want AI to run everything.
Absolutely want to run AI in everything. You're absolutely right, Jim. I was listening to a podcast this morning that was talking about they're infusing AI in every product they have,
Yeah.
and they're planning on bumping the price of your Office package.
Well, they have to. All the parts are coming from Japan and
Well,
China
this-
and all that crap.
Well, that's not necessarily the case, but you think about the Copilot offering, the Chat GPT offering through Microsoft right now is an additional $20 a license per month. And what they're trying to do is build a package where you'll have access to all of that by default. You can't choose not to have it. And then they're going to just raise your prices like Netflix raised their
Keep
prices.
raising.
That's right.
Okay, so look at here. This is Facebook Messenger. Okay. So you've got Ask Meta AI or search. And then down here you have Meta AI. Well, they just added all of that
Yeah.
on the last upgrade.
I'm convinced on another topic of these AI inclusions. I'm convinced that adding Meta AI to Messenger and to Facebook will eventually downstream we're going to see a data breach. A Messenger without a doubt, because Messenger doesn't have any encryption by default. You have to decide to have an encrypted conversation with your person. WhatsApp, they've been trying to get that data out at WhatsApp since they bought it because they understand the value of it. And I think this meta search getting included in the WhatsApp interface is what's going to start leaking data out unintentionally.
And back when you first started here talking about AI, and everybody was so excited about it.
Not
It
everybody.
is, well, not everybody, I know. And it is going to be, everything is going to know everything about you
yeah.
that they don't already know.
That's right.
And you can't stop it. So AI is a bad thing.
It is
It's
a
bad
thing.
for
Well-
the
They
schools.
already know
It's
if they don't
bad.
do it this way, they'll do it another way.
Right.
Well, let them try another way then.
I think
the
the
other
bad
thing
thing is the they.
Who is the they?
Well, the they is the bad thing. The they is that's the bad thing. Technology in itself isn't
No,
bad. I
it's
mean,
the
I would
they.
not outlaw hammers because you hit somebody on the head with them. I mean, right?
Really?
I mean,
You outlaw guns
no.
because they
Well,
killed
but
somebody with
listen.
it?
Government needs over the instead why to get it.
I
You know
don't
what,
think this
Irving?
is the
I'll
government.
agree with you. I think that we should all have the data. That's where I'm
Well,
at.
yeah,
I think everything should just be open. If I want to know everything about Irving, not just the government should be able to do that.
Mhm.
And I should be able to look at every congressman. I should be able to look at every policeman. I should be able to look at the IRS. I should be able to
What benefit would it give the public?
Because there would be they would not be the only
They.
ones with everybody's
Oh, no,
information.
You're very radical. Where's the police? Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to be arrested.
No. I'm telling you, the problem is that they don't respect having the data. They would if I had data on them.
The abuse.
They abuse it because they
Government
hide
and
it from
abuse
us.
are synonymous.
Well, another
But
problem
still,
with
they do have it, have to have.
It's kind of
And
like
it's in our best
UFOs.
interest that they do.
I said it's kind of like UFOs.
well,
isn't
another
it?
problem with
Yeah.
the AI is the lies.
Yeah.
And how are you going to know if it's a lie or it's the truth? You won't know. because the AI is creating them.
Well, you're absolutely right. I go and ask questions of an AI, and then I get a vague enough answer that I spend another 20 minutes trying to vet the answer I
So
got.
what is the purpose? Why do you continue to use it?
Okay, so
You're forced
I was
to use them.
No, wait.
I was gonna mention this.
Okay.
So I'm working on a project right now for the Seguro y Sano run that's going to be happening in February, where we can display the results on a screen right there on site. And so I've written this whole thing in JavaScript, and I couldn't have put it together without AI.
Yes, you could have.
No, not in the time frame that we have. There was not a way, and I was able to produce very quickly, test very quickly, add features very quickly that would have taken me months to research on my own, and I was able to do it in a period of 5 days. It was
Also,
awesome.
Google, I use Google for everything.
I'm literally talking
And
about
Google has
I
AI
understand.
embedded now. I have no choice.
right.
So
Yeah.
don't use Google anymore.
Who am I going to use?
Dogpile.
But the point I'm trying to make is there are things that AI is very capable of doing, very competent of doing.
Yeah.
And it's when we get out into these strange areas that they don't have any competence
they're
in
worming
this.
their way into every facet of life.
Yes.
Well, I would take it farther to it's an excuse to worm into every facet of life because it doesn't show the value is not there. It's not showing us the value yet.
But it's
And
still
it's-
volunteer.
They're pushing it too
And
far.
when
They're
the
expecting you to
Exactly.
do too much.
Exactly.
The average person like me, knowing this, will still choose to use it.
To
As I
use
do.
Google?
Well, yeah.
Well,
I
let's
mean, I
Google
hope-
that. That's your first hint that there's something wrong, because that's the only thing that people think, oh, let's Google that. That's the only way to do it, and that is absolutely not.
Yeah, but listen, it's been a long
you
day
use
since they
DuckDuckGo.
started not banging
Exactly,
on
I
doors
use
and
that
selling
one
the
too.
encyclopedia.
That's the
Well, there is in insidious stuff that's been going on. I was listening to somebody commenting on a Bing search the other day. They say you realize that when you go to the Bing page, they have well, Jim's like, I'd never use Bing.
I don't.
Well, you know what?
neither.
Nobody would use Bing.
No,
And that's the
Bing is
point.
bad news.
Nobody
I-
would use it. And so what Bing has done is they have created artificial Google graphics. They've designed their page to look similar to Google. And after you get a result, because it's by accident, you didn't mean to Bing. That wasn't your plan. You used something that pushed you to Bing.
Yeah,
and-
they
and all of a
embed-
sudden
they
you're
embed
looking-
your computer.
You're
absolutely.
you're looking at a list of results that are almost identical to Google results. And what the Bing page does is it pushes its logo up above the bar so you can't see the
So
logo.
you don't really see exactly.
So you're completely manipulated into using Bing thinking it's Google intentionally.
Well,
And I think that's a prime metaphor for everything the tech industry is doing right now. They are dancing with themselves. They're not making things better. They're rearranging stuff and figuring out more ways to take advantage of you to make more money.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
So-
they're figuring out ways to get around because the government wants to split them up. So they're working on ways to get around all that.
Now wait.
All the major media companies are actually tech companies, and they all went to the inauguration to
They
kiss the
all
ring.
went and sat next to each other.
Now, what does it
They're
mean
hypocrites.
when we have an administration
These are money makers.
in
That's what they-
bed
they're business people.
with all of our journalism? What does that mean? What does that mean when all the journalists are on the side of the current
It
administration?
doesn't change anything, because every media country, media in the world
Linda.
is owned by a person that
It-
voted for the sole purpose.
Irving,
of
it changes everything. There is a tradition of honor and concern in journalism. There is not in tech. You cannot tell me that tech grew with the same kind of integrity that journalism did.
No, I'm not. I'm talking
No,
just about, I'm
and
just
when
talking
you
about
bring-
journalism alone.
I know I'm saying they're not alone anymore, and that's my point.
Well,
My point is that journalism's being driven the same way
Yeah.
the tech sector has been driven. And now we've got those representatives cozying up with our current administration.
I can put-
Sitting next
I
to
got a
each
10.
other.
Yeah.
Put it
That
in
is
for
a
you.
key
Don't throw
photo
it on the
right
floor.
there. I only watched them walk into the church, and that was all that I've watched about the whole inauguration. So,
You know,
on that note,
Here.
Ooh, hey, our call is dying. I am going to, if Chester, if you're still interested in joining us, you're the only one on the call, but I'm going to start up the next meet. But we've only got a few moments before I think we're done.
If you're done, then I'm done.
Judy,
he said,
you use Google?
I do not. I use Gmail, which is bad enough, but I don't. Google is not my search engine.
So who is?
Either Dogpile or DuckDuckGo.
And you feel it's
Better,
better?
At times.
better,
I
better.
I don't agree, but I think Google has turned into a lot of hot garbage,
Oh yeah.
and so I try not to Google, but there are certain things that is better through Google. It's just I get better results.
I don't see
But I
how
use
you-
Dogpile. I use DuckDuckGo as well. I
don't
try
see
to.
how you can be living in a society day without using all of the online. I mean,
Well, I do. I search with DuckDuckGo or Dogpile.
Yes.
I've used Dogpile since, I don't know, since way back when, but then I switched kind of to DuckDuckGo and I go in between, but I don't ever say, hey Google, do a search for me. Never.
that back on AI, Amazon switched to AI for their reviews and stuff. So I'm looking at this thing and there's 0 reviews. But if you look up the comments, it says it's all the checks. Oh, people say it's great. They love the way
Oh.
it works.
Oh, really? The AI
And the product-
is summarizing something with no reviews.
And with no reviews. So I typed in the bottom, that's interesting. Being there's no
business.
reviews for this, Amazon never answered me back.
right.
Oh, of course.
I mean, you got to really watch.
The one good thing though about AI is if you want to know how to do something and you type it in, it gives you the instructions how to do it right away. It comes
Yeah,
right
if
up.
they're the right instructions.
Right.
That's the issue.
Yeah,
That's
but again,
it has no.
everybody-
I'll give you an example. I was using AI to help create a new logo for my business, and all I wanted was a globe. Like if you see my logo, I've
Yeah.
got a globe, but I'd like it positioned with Alaska to Mexico being forefront. Because I think that's cute that I'm Alaskan and I'm in Mexico and we're
Right.
called International Computer Solutions. So I want North America
you.
centered on that area. It did great coming up with a globe. It did great designing the globe. I wanted it to look with a wireframe and everything. It had no idea where Alaska was. And it had no, every time I asked it to center on North America, it got farther away from North America. It made no sense. I have 2 hours of asking this AI to just rotate the fucking globe.
Well,
And it
listen-
has no idea what a globe is. It knows what a picture called globe is.
Rotate your picture.
I wouldn't be surprised if it turned it upside down.
Scott, won't it learn it? Isn't that the idea of it?
Right, but the point is that the only thing that's making this value out of AI are the guardrails that get put on these things. That's why these LLMs are very. Let's go back to spell checker and grammar checker. They're essentially the same technology. They have been perfected by all practical purposes. We're waiting for that perfection to happen in each one of these LLMs that makes sense. Yeah, things like the coding example or the image example. You can see some real potential there, but there has been no perfection.
Not timely, not enough time.
yeah, it just has not been around enough, and they've been working on it for so long. For years they've been working on it, that the experts know this is the extent. This is as far as this is going to go. So it's defining those guardrails is all that's left with that job, and they're not going to get artificial intelligence out of this branch of research. What they're going to get is really sophisticated spell checkers. That's what they're going to get. And the sophistication I'm referring to, metaphorically, spell checkers, the sophistication is, yes, you can make a picture by asking it to make a picture, and you'll be able to tell it to bring back the previous. You can't even bring back the previous picture most times. You generate an image and you go, oh, we'll use the woman out of the last picture, and they have no idea what you're talking. They don't know what a woman is. They don't know. They just grabbed a picture and started giving it instructions. Without that refinement, that perfect, and the guardrails aren't sophisticated. The ones that work are as dumb as the ones that work for a grammar checker or a spell checker. So when you start applying it to video or photos or things, it's 1/10 or 1/100th of what's needed to bring that kind of perfection in, like they did with a spell checker. What AI has really proven to us to be is a land grab. A cash grab.
Well, listen, of course, all businesses are right. Listen, this is I'm going to say America,
but it's more
the world.
hype. It's
The
more
world is
hype than
for
technology.
profit. Money is driving force behind all of the innovation. Execute.
I think that this time period in history will go down as AI is made us forget about how much crypto resources are being used, because the AI is using so much more resources. All of a sudden, we're not even concerned about crypto resources.
Why would they be using any more resources than Google is already?
Well, every AI query, they've got some algorithm that'll show you how much it costs.
More in depth.
And it's costing so much electricity that companies like Microsoft are like, hey, what about 3 Mile Island? Can we turn that back on? Because like, we need that electricity. I mean, like, all of a sudden, everyone's like, no, we need to be able to use more electricity. We need to crank these things on? Is there enough value coming from these things at the moment that it justifies cranking on an old nuclear plant to pay for it? I would say no. At this point, no. It's not.
I think humans are too stupid to have any of them. My personal catastrophe only.
Well, I sure think that that's an easy thing to agree with. I am curious about personal nukes. I mean, I really, they've done a lot. There's been a lot of design and engineering that has come since, like, the 3 Mile incident or the Chernobyl incident. But then I think, well, I mean, my kids were already born when Fukushima. I can't even say the name now. I used to say it every day. The meltdown there in Japan after the.
Oh, Chernobyl?
No.
That was Russia.
What's it? Fujima?
No, a longer word, but that's in that line.
Yeah. It's I will write that off as being a gringo that grew up in white culture. I can't say it right now. Can't pull it out of my brain.
I think they still haven't cooled that down yet.
No, and there is a tracked cycle of radiation contamination going through our oceans. And so, yeah, I'm really impressed by all the engineering that they've done. But the last incident...
They were the best. They were foolproof. They were the leaders in nuclear technology.
Well, now, and this is where I'm going to disagree with you on capitalism. They cut corners. And they knew they cut corners. They were told they cut corners.
Listen.
It made it cheaper, Irving. It made it cheaper.
A synonym here that you're not going to agree with because it doesn't apply across the board. Here's the synonym. Business crookedness. That's my opinion. I quit business when I was 34 years old because it offended me.
Yeah.
And that's, I'm a strange character. And I still cannot stand to do business. Inherently unethical. And mostly, very often, illegal or dishonest.
Well, dishonest is what happened with these because they knew this was a potential problem and they kept ignoring it. The design is well, and I'm sorry, I don't have all the details. I just remember certain aspects of it, but I think it's a GE design. I hate to speak without having it fresh in my. We you know, the computer club, we did all kinds of talks on that.
You got a computer in front of you.
Well, yeah, but we're almost done. We're just
Okay.
and we're just ranting anyway.
Where is your background? You have a computer background.
A what?
You have a computer background, don't you?
Nah, not that much. I used to build them for people, gaming machines.
Yeah, because I could see your knowledge.
But I was seafood.
You know stuff that nobody's supposed to know.
The only reason I started using computers is because we got one for the kid,
Yeah.
and I crashed it, and so I called in sick to work to fix it. I'm anal that way.
Well, but
So I started to learn it.
You know stuff that goes a level beyond what anybody here can
Well, thank you.
except for the guy.
Yeah, I mean, if you're getting at, I mean, you're not formally trained. You're
Self-trained.
self-trained. Yeah, well, and a lot of hackers are. I mean, I was self-trained before I went to be formally trained.
Yeah.
But there's the answer. You called him a hacker. He didn't object.
Yeah. Well, it's not a derogatory term.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, people get the wrong
My
impression,
brother was
but
a
people
hacker,
that
too.
know, it's not a derogatory term.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the problems that we have with technology right now is there isn't enough hacking going on. There isn't enough people trying to solve these problems that could be little problems, but because we have so much power in technology, we can deal with it on a big scale, and so it takes a lot of electricity. It takes a long time because that's easy. And what's hard is narrowing down how much electricity it's using, making it happen quicker, making it happen with less resources, which is what we relied on back in the 80s and 90s. Is nothing would work. I mean, Windows had 640K of memory. It's just amazing what we did back in the 80s
My
with
first computer had
640K of memory was enough to run an operating system, a word processor. I mean, not multitasking, but they did have multitasking text-based operating systems at that time. I mean, it was just amazing and it was because people would work over a problem and work over a problem and work over a problem until they took out all the inefficiencies.
This here predates you, Scott. I first started with computers as a hobby because I got out of business 34.
Yeah.
And not to let my brain atrophy, I figured I'll play around with computers. It became a hobby. And so what we used to do is before the web, we used to communicate on a modem.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
we'd exchange, and of course we had to write our own little programs, and we would exchange information. Before the World Wide Web, there was the modem where people were doing the same thing, but on a very tiny scale.
Yeah, that doesn't actually predate me. I was right there.
So what is it called? I never.
Well, you're probably talking about BBSs, where we would dial in to a central computer and exchange things.
I would dial your number and dial mine.
Yeah, or you would dial a guy that is keeping a host out there on a phone line so that it can be shared with other people.
Actually, it was just direct. In other words, if you wanted a program that I had, I would send.
Mm-hmm.
And it took all night sometimes.
Well, dial-up is individual dial-up or dialing into a mainframe. I mean, we've been doing that for a long time. I remember my buddies bought me a 9600 baud modem
Yeah.
as a birthday present.
This was fast.
It was so fast back then.
I had two because I linked them together to make it faster yet.
There you
So
go.
what I used to do is I play poker.
Mhm.
And prior to all this knowledge being available, I used to run simulations. I call what's called Monte Carlo simulation. And you'd put in a couple of hands, and you'd let it play all night. Then you got up in the morning and you got an answer. Now you do the same thing, and you just put it in. It's like Google, right back at you.
Right?
There's no time, no time at all. We'd run, let's say, now you can run 100 million things probably in minute. Then if you had to run 1,000,000, it took you all night.
Well, the AI, like I was saying, I'm doing this development right now. I stand by it. It would have taken me a month to do what I did in just a couple of days. So I see a lot of value in that
Well,
kind of
businesses
stuff.
are operating, private businesses
Yeah.
are going to save money, so it's got to have commercial value. We just happen to be the way, happen to be part of the whole system.
You want more?
No, I'm good, thank you.
You like more coffee?
I'll probably have breakfast.
Okay.
Well, guys, we have reached the end of our meeting. We're about a half hour over our normal time, but that's normal as well.
There is no normal.
There is no normal. So maybe we should call it.
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you guys have anything else you want to add to today's meeting?
Barracuda's Bob has good chili.
Good chili at
They have good
Barracuda Bob?
everything. They're very good. They're so small, I don't go
The
there.
bowl of chili, yeah, it's real
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, that's
In
it.
fact, that's lunch today.
That's where you're going for lunch. All right.
Yeah.
They expanded. That's set my usual wants. I don't go there, but they are very good.
I haven't been there for a long time, maybe
Yeah.
a couple of years. But I always hear good things about it.
Yeah, you get your bowl of chili with a cornbread muffin,
Oh, all right.
and it's a good sized bowl.
We're going to put that on the recommendations list from Jim.
Anyway, that's lunch today.
All right.
Oh.
I'm going to make a category lunch. Lunch recommendation. All right, guys.
Another place that always has good food, never has people, never, and always has breakfast or dinner.
Oh yeah,
I just don't
What
understand why
what
this
place is it?
never-
This place.
Oh, yeah. No, they got good food.
And it's never.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they have their moments. We've got. When I came in to set up today, there was 5 times as many people in here than I normally think of being in here.
Oh, yeah, but
Yeah.
now's the busy season.
Yeah.
But still in all, for the quality of food, and we've been here for years, they're just very good.
Well, I've always been happy with the food here, and so it's also a
great day.
recommendation.
I will.
How do you know? You've got you can see the future.
I'm sorry.
All right. So anybody out there in internet land, this
You
is
see
Scott
the future?
Stimson
If you know you
from
will.
International Computer
that's right.
Solutions
Yeah, I always have a good day.
and the
I
San
just
Carlos
don't worry
Computer
about
Club.
things that bother
Our
me.
club is
You-
a
you- and I don't watch
social
any
discuss
news, so
tech
not
club
much bothers me.
and rant about how the world is, and that's
I
what
don't
we
take
did
sides.
today. You are welcome to come join us at Tequilas in person on Tuesdays at 10, or just tune in. We've got a YouTube channel you're welcome to watch, or you can join us for our meetings. You just need the meet code, and I will let you in. So if that's something you want to do, get a hold of me, Scott at I can't even say it now. Scott at scclub.org or Scott at internationalcs.net. I do remote IT support for different organizations, and yours could be one of them. So if you're looking for remote help, please keep me in mind. Until next week, everybody out there in the internet, tech on.